Talk for a second. Let me
Right
fix
here?
this one
Okay.
right here.
I'm not sure what to say.
Boom, there we go.
I don't know what to
Okay,
do with
we're
Connie
good.
Johnson.
All right, so the former senator, for those of you who don't know,
Once
is
a
it okay
senator,
if I-
always a senator.
Okay, well, I call you
Until
senator.
we become a governor.
There you go. Which might be what we're here for. So do you want to do the announcements, or would you like me to do a warm-up for the crowd?
I like your style.
Okay, here's the deal. I used to tour around Oklahoma City as a driver for my wife Kathy when she was running for lieutenant governor. Connie was running for governor at the time. And unpopularity or popularity talked about marijuana, marijuana laws, legality of marijuana, and prison reform at every single place we went.
Yes.
And she's still doing
Still
it.
doing
She
that.
is literally the queen of sticking with this, making sure it happens. And now, for those of you who are aficionados or not, it is under attack again. Is
Yeah.
that fair?
8 years later, yes, yes. Interestingly.
And that seems to be on a few things. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and do your announcement since I've warmed them up a little bit. Show you that she's got grit. She's got grit.
And good morning. I am Connie Johnson, and I'm running to be your next governor. I'm so excited about it. Sean is right. This is kind of an exciting moment. No one really knew, except I knew in my heart
Right.
that this was something that I had to do. I've done it 2 times already, so I definitely know how to do it.
Right.
But we're at a point in Oklahoma, and I think in the world, and the United States in particular, where we're dealing with happiness and the lack of happiness, and we're not focusing on the people.
Right.
Everybody's talking about Oklahoma, nobody's talking about Oklahomans.
I'm with you.
And I have a love for the people of Oklahoma. We just talked about it. I'm
Born and raised.
Born and raised, Southeast Oklahoma, grew up in Idabel of all places. And so I have a feel for the culture. I'm a part of that culture. I understand how we come together as Oklahomans and look out for each other. So my campaign is really about being an Oklahoman and looking out for other Oklahomans, taking care of my neighbors, taking care of my grandchildren, everybody, in the areas that most impact our lives. We know that education is key, and it's at the heart of, I believe, everything that's broken in Oklahoma. The fact that in the last 8 years, we have downtrended to now being 50th
Right.
in the nation.
Which would
All
not be
these-
okay if it was football. Everyone would be
Yeah.
fired.
All these emergency certificates, people
Yeah.
that really aren't qualified to teach in
It's
there.
amazing. It's
So how do you do it other than just changing the mood and prioritizing it again? Because, so the school board literally changed the history, not requirements, but what they decide you're gonna study.
Graduation
Social-
requirements.
No, they just, so last year with Ryan Walters, they had these.
Social
deal-
study.
The social study curriculum, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, had to get into wording.
Okay.
And Ryan Walters changed it overnight and went in for a vote. And so they go to court, they do all this stuff. The new people now, appointed by Governor Stitt, appointed by the Senate, no, appointed by the House, did the exact same thing. They changed it themselves and then voted it through.
Yeah.
So we are getting a curriculum that nobody wanted Walters to get through. Again.
Again.
So you will have appointees on there.
Exactly.
And then you gotta wrangle the Senate, you gotta wrangle the House to get
Exactly.
decent employees.
Exactly.
Why does nobody care about this? I know, because that's where the money is. I do get it, but how do we get back to people giving a shit about somebody else's kid?
I think we have to make sure people understand what it means when we don't. What it means when we don't care for children. We know that it leads, we have a cradle to prison pipeline in Oklahoma. So we know that as a result of poor education, we pay more money in incarcerating people.
Yeah.
We have worse outcomes health-wise. So I think a person has to be holistic about all of these factors, but really they're all being tied to education and how our system needs to improve. The way we improve our system, first of all, we gotta fund it.
Mhm.
So we'll talk
Properly,
about that
yeah,
later.
properly.
Right?
Yeah.
But we also have to get back to the basics. This should not be a political football.
Right.
Education should be about educating children. My parents were educators. I studied to teach and, ultimately decided that I could impact children better as a policymaker. But educators know what's needed. and we're talking true educators.
Yeah.
I have nothing against emergency certifications. We did what we had to do, but we have this opportunity now.
We're using it
in
as a big crutch now, though.
It's absolutely a crutch. But we have an opportunity now, in the next year, by electing me governor, to change, to do it differently, to get the input of the people who are in the place and who understand and who know what's needed to make our system better.
Because I don't know if you saw this, Melania Trump came out with literally a robot that they're trying to put in schools to
Oh,
teach
AI.
kids. Right.
Oh, I hadn't seen that.
And it was the worst single
Yeah,
video
worst
I've ever,
thing I've seen.
but the thing is a little 5-year-old who's nervous to be in school and everything else, that doesn't work for
That
them.
doesn't work.
They need the kindness of somebody, and that's really when it really does help to have an empath teacher. Even, I look at it and go, there's 40,000 Oklahoma teacher certificates that aren't being used.
Yeah.
That the right person could motivate them to come back into the classroom.
The right person, the right environment, the right funding. I know our classes are overcrowded. Children have, like my grandson, was in a classroom with 32
Yeah.
first graders,
That's
kindergartners.
a lot of little ones running
Yeah.
around.
No teacher's aide.
Should be 18 is the
And
max, I think, that's the
exactly.
limit.
So the conditions, I believe, are directly related not only to the policies, but to the funding.
I think a lot of it, some of it, for me, and this is my argument on
Okay.
education in Oklahoma, is the culture here. It is anti-education. It absolutely is.
But
You
we
know,
have to
whenever you
figure
see
out
on there,
how do we
hey,
change that?
you'd only need an 8th grade education to go work the oil patch.
Not anymore.
They say that, man.
Not
That's what
anymore.
they're saying,
Right.
you know?
That's the
You just need a
mindset.
GED, go
Yeah.
get you a job. You don't need,
70 grand a
you don't
year.
need anything else other than that.
Right.
And that's kind of the culture we have here until we really change that to where, you know, doing math isn't a beta thing.
Right.
Because that's what they say, you know, it's all alpha male here. You gotta go be a roughneck on the oil patch and be a man. You know, that's what they, you know, I've heard it. You're just like, oh, you know, so, and I do complex math for a living.
Right.
as-
Okay.
in
For a
field of
job,
engineering,
yeah.
right?
Right.
Okay.
So people look at that, oh, that's nerdy, you know, and maybe it is.
Maybe it
you know,
is.
but still, you gotta have engineers and it pays the bills
Right.
really well. But, you know, I mean,
So how
so,
do
so,
we- how do
yeah,
we
you
get
gotta
it
change
back
that
to-
culture a little bit.
How do we get
But
to
let me say
education
this real
mattering?
quick.
Sorry, yeah.
I do support vocational technical
Yeah.
education.
Oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah,
some of
yeah.
the best things
Gotta
I've
have all,
seen.
man.
Right,
Yeah.
and that's a very significant part of our educational system. I'm so proud to see that my
Right.
alma mater, Douglas High School, is now building a
Yeah.
wing to bring those
Oh, nice.
And we need
trades
those.
back to people as an offering. I have many classmates who are bricklayers,
Yeah.
who are tailors, who
Okay.
are printers, because of career tech.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't career tech at the time, but it was VOTech,
Yeah.
located on the individual campuses.
And we were number one in America in that and pre-K.
Yeah,
But again, policies
yeah.
Right.
that drove situations or decisions like taking civics
Yeah,
out of the curriculum,
Mhm.
I think had a dual purpose. So yeah, sure, they created some more hours, but it also meant that we had an electorate that is uninformed.
yeah,
And when you're uninformed or misinformed, you're more easily manipulated.
and you don't vote
You
either.
don't, you
Right.
believe
You don't
your
vote.
vote doesn't
Yeah.
matter,
Yeah.
right?
That's the big one.
And I think civics, my 8th grade government teacher, Miss Carolyn Kelly, rest her soul, told us that if there is a law that's wrong, you must break it. You don't hear
Yeah,
that.
bring attention to it,
You
right.
bring-
No.
You know, we're the students who walked out of Douglas High School in 1969 in support of the Oklahoma City garbage workers. So we learned civics and action and activism growing up, and we had to. Living as on the east side of Oklahoma
Oh, yeah.
City, of course my existence was church, school, and home, but you had to just not take it. You had to be shown fighting back, having spirit. But that's just like any Oklahoman. We're all Oklahomans. We do believe in defending our own and taking care of our own. And we don't begrudge anybody else doing the same thing. So education, I believe, has been manipulated to the point that people don't believe it matters.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I mean, we're lowest in the nation or top 5 or low 5 on voter participation.
Yes.
And that kind of goes hand in hand, I think, education and voter participation. I mean, if you're uninformed, you, one, aren't informed enough to want to go
Right.
vote on
Yeah.
anything. Or another, maybe you feel so uninformed that, well, I don't want to, I'm embarrassed to vote maybe, or don't feel the need
I
to
don't
vote
know
because I
anybody
don't know
there.
anything.
Yeah.
And maybe because you don't know, you give up.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I've talked about a matrix.
Mhm.
What we're in right now is a type of matrix, you'll get this. Where all of these strange, unusual things are happening, government is unresponsive, but it's in your face, and the whole time they're trying to take away your voting rights.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
got you believing that your vote doesn't matter, you are distressed, downtrodden, you're just stuck
And broke.
and broke.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? So how do the only way to break out of that matrix is for people to vote.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll sure talk about that, I'm sure.
Okay,
Yeah, no
so-
kidding. Hey, man, there's
Yeah.
something very important that I'm just hammering away on my Facebook page, and that's the legislature has put in a lot of these resolutions that are gonna show up on a state question ballot in August,
Yeah.
when they know no one's
No
gonna
one
show
votes.
up. So
Right, 'cause they're
golly,
getting
we
people-
gotta show up on, and they're gonna do it in August. I don't know
They're doing
when.
it in August.
I think
On
that's the
at
idea.
At the runoff election.
Yeah, they're gonna do that, and
August
you got June for the primary,
Uh-huh.
August is gonna be where they put all these
Uh-huh.
state questions in, and then you got the November general, it's gonna just, well, one, that's designed just to wear people out.
Yeah.
And low
for
voter
another,
turnout
yeah, low
for
turnout.
the runoffs.
Yeah, cause they wanna change Medicaid expansion, there's some stuff with,
Should we
marijuana.
segue into
too, they wanna
marijuana
do
at this
that,
point?
yeah, right into some of that.
It's up to you.
And that's the plan. The plan is to do it in some off deal when you're already tired of voting
Yeah.
all the time, and they expect 15% of the people to show up.
That is next
Take
level.
Kyle
dialogue.
Hilbert.
yeah.
That's Kyle
Kyle
Hilbert's
Hilbert.
evil brain.
Yeah, he looks like the nice kid next door, and he's not.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
so
Yes,
Connie,
I'm
do you want to
involved.
talk about marijuana first, or do you want to talk about that? I actually think it's an advantage to you that independents are not voting in your primary, because then it's just Dems who are all really familiar with you, and they're
I do,
also
yeah.
familiar with your opponent, and they get to choose. So a lot of people go, oh, somebody's already running, don't run, and you go, look, a healthy democracy has competition and
Yeah.
competition of ideas, circumstances. That everybody's got a different viewpoint. The three of us here
Well,
all have different
absolutely.
viewpoints, and
Yeah.
we need to hear them
And now,
so we can decide.
now that you have a primary going on, that means more
And it's
press,
only a
that
Democrat
means
primary.
more, yeah, we'll see how that works.
And-
That gets more
Yeah.
people
Or
involved.
publicity.
I
Publicity.
think uniquely, because it's a Democratic primary, the focus is more about Democrats. Again, the people.
Yeah.
I've been a Democrat for 60 years. Now, that's longer than some people are old.
You don't look it, so
Yeah.
good for you.
Yeah.
But I started a Team Democrat club on the east side of Oklahoma City when I was 13 years old.
Okay, nice.
And we went to state convention. I served as vice chair of the party in 2016. Only Bernie Sanders superdelegate. I proposed. That's how we got the federations in the Democratic Party. So this is a moment about Democrats.
Yeah.
This is all in the family. We're all at the table.
Right.
Let's put it out there and let's say, what are our values?
Right.
What are democratic values? Right? I know at one point I could say strongly that they were marijuana policy reform, criminal justice reform,
Right.
mental health and
Yeah.
health, reproductive rights, and immigration.
Right.
I can name those, roll those
Right.
off of my tongue,
Yeah.
right? I think those are still
They're still applicable.
democratic
They're
values.
still applicable. I just don't know that
Okay.
they're the ones everyone's afraid to talk about now. And you
But
go, why?
This is our chance. This
Yeah.
is our chance to show people who perhaps have left the party because of all of the drama in the background
Yep.
that no, this is really who we still are. I had to run as a Democrat.
Yeah.
If I'm a Democrat, my mom was a yellow dog Democrat. I had no choice, and my daddy was a Republican. I get along with everybody, right? But democratic values are in my blood. And I'm so happy to have this opportunity to get beyond the barrier breakers, the placeholders,
Right.
and get to the people.
Right.
And actually talk about what it is to be a Democrat.
Yeah.
I wanna share with them what I've done through my 33 years in the Senate, and prior to that, what I've done that actually supports and reinforces democratic values. And there's a lot. So we want to talk about marijuana.
Right.
We want to talk about criminal justice reform, the things that were going on in my community, Senate District 48, that drove me to pursue marijuana policy reform, the reproductive rights of women,
Just rights of women, period.
Yeah.
rights of women, period, to earn an equal wage,
I know, huh?
right? That's a
I mean,
democratic value.
you've got Christian nationalists out there right now trying to get rid of the 19th
19th
Amendment.
Yeah.
Can you believe that?
Can you believe you'd see that in your entire life?
Well, we've seen a lot.
Yeah.
Remember,
It's
we
not.
saw America turn 200,
Yeah.
and we're getting ready to see it turn 250 years old.
It's been a rough 50.
But I think, and Sean, I'm really not sure how old you are, but for my generation,
62.
you're kind of young.
Yeah.
But for my generation, we have lived in interesting times,
Right. Yeah.
and they're getting more interesting every day. And I'm so excited to have been through what I've been through, to bring it to the table on behalf of Oklahomans. And again, to do that from the perspective of the Democratic platform.
I haven't heard anybody talk about Democrats like this in a long time, so it's nice. It's refreshing. I will tell you, and you know, my wife was through and through.
I have
and
Democratic friends
Right.
all over the state, and they know me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've not changed.
Right.
If anything, I've gotten a little more stubborn in my old age, and I'm a little
As we
less
all do.
tolerant of the nonsense. And we're at a point where in this matrix, this is nonsense.
Yeah.
But I know that we have to have a message in this Democratic primary that not only inspires Democrats and independents ultimately to do in the general,
Right in the general.
to
Right.
come back to the fold, but that stands for, that really represents who we are
Mhm.
as a party.
So it'd be nice to just see people stand for something. And I know you well enough to know you do. I'm just talking as a generality. So I'm happy you're in it. I think it's
Yeah.
better advertising to have people debate. Look, CD5's picked up another guy that's announcing tomorrow morning. And he did sign up, and I think it's good. I like Gina Nelson, but I also
Yeah.
think there needs to be competition. You know, if the goal is to beat Stephanie Bice, we can't be afraid of a competitor in a primary.
And both of them will bring perspectives to the table that hopefully the victor will incorporate.
You
Because
would think,
it is
right.
about
Yeah.
beating Congresswoman Bice.
Yeah.
So, yeah, competition is healthy.
Right. So,
People need to have a choice.
Yeah, there's
choices.
a lot of people in CD5 that just aren't happy with her,
they're just not happy, period.
including
And
Republicans.
she's not real. It's back to the deal of there is nobody representing me in our federal delegation right now. They are representing companies. There's no one looking out for me. And I owned a company for 40 years.
But I think we can still attribute this to the trend of lower and lower voter turnout.
Mhm.
Yep.
When our current chief got elected, 2018, historic lower turnout.
Yeah.
2022 was even worse.
Worse.
And
Well, like we just
Democrats
had.
didn't vote. Let's
No.
just say
They just stayed home.
Democrats,
Well, a
for
lot of
some
people-
reason.
It wasn't just Democrats,
some
it was also Republicans. I mean, we had
But I'm just talking about-
20% turnout. That's.
We're just talking about Democrats.
Yeah,
That's
we're
registered voters.
we're
talking about
we're
Democratic
back
primary.
then.
Yeah, go get the primary. I was talking about the general.
No. We at the primary.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Democrats
Yeah,
stayed home
Yeah.
for some reason.
yeah.
For some reason.
Because we got to
Yeah.
offer
Think
more
back
than
about
just
it.
not being Republican. We
Yeah.
have to offer
Well,
more.
you know, honestly, looking at the polling and everything else, Republicans have the same problem, and that's where they can be beat. Right? If we can pull out the Democrat voters,
They're
and,
in.
and even just 40% of them,
Right.
we could probably
Yeah.
win elections because only 20% of Republicans show up to vote too, because it's been so gerrymandered.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's so gerrymandered that everyone goes, Why vote? It's already decided anyway. As a matter of fact, I just put out a deal last week, whenever I looked at who signed up and everything to run, half of the legislature in Oklahoma is already decided.
And I know, isn't that great?
Half-
But it used
half
to be
the
more.
seats have
so
already
it's
been
better than it was.
decided.
Yeah. All right, Connie,
So,
we
so
got
let me
maybe,
say this
yeah,
though,
anything.
because, I wanna just share what one of my, gosh, what do you call the 20-something-year-olds? What are they?
Today,
millennials?
Gen Y
Yeah.
or whatever.
Gen Z.
Gen
Z.
ABC, we
Right.
started.
We gotta
over,
start
right?
back
We
over.
started
Back
over.
over to Gen
But-
Alpha.
But Miss Sincere Terry, she put this
Yeah.
out there
Oh, she's
yesterday.
doll.
Might be
Yeah.
Gen Alpha, I don't know what they are
I don't
now.
know.
I don't either. But this was deep. We are not a red state.
We're
We
in-
are a low voter turnout state. That's all.
Yeah. The only reason we're a red state is, again, the gerrymandering.
Well,
That's what
and
makes us
people
a red
don't-
state.
Okay, so the gerrymandering has people believing that it won't
It doesn't
matter.
matter.
Yep,
So
and
they
that's why
don't
they stay
vote.
home.
Self,
Exactly.
and it's a
Right.
self-fulfilling prophecy. Okay, we got about 5 minutes
Okay,
left to go.
all right.
So
Well,
I've
this
worked
was
with
a
with
fast-
Connie on jail reform,
Yep.
marijuana issues,
Yep.
all this other stuff. So just for those of you who go, he seems to be awfully into she produces.
Yeah,
Is that fair?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so I would say I've known you closely for 14 years now. And I was always stuck in the back of the rooms because
Me too.
in Oklahoma, if
About the
I
same
went in with my wife and I started talking, they talked to me and
You
not
was
her.
a good
So I just
husband
say,
too. You a good
thank you.
husband.
I was a good driver.
Yeah.
That was my thing. So tell us, how are you going to get your message out? You got Donald Trump doing insane stuff every
Insane
single day, and it's eating all the news.
Yeah.
People know your name, so they're going to go in there. They go Cindy Munson and Connie Johnson. They'll know both of you, hopefully, or they'll know one of you. But how do you get through this insanity?
the noise.
Right.
I think you speak to what's happening here to Oklahomans on the ground. We're talking about our health care is unaffordable,
Yep.
gas prices are through the roof for whatever reasons. Food stamps
Yeah.
are being
Hamburger was
affected.
$6 this
Housing.
morning for shitty hamburger.
Right, housing,
Yeah.
all of these factors, you cannot ignore that that's happening to us.
Right.
Yeah.
Groceries, cost of groceries. And so focusing on what's really happening to the people of Oklahoma, I think will rise above all of the chatter about the ludicrous stuff
Right.
that is coming out of the nation's capital right now and out of the world. I just believe that we have a message that will resonate with Oklahomans because it's about Oklahomans. And then I want to
You'll
throw
probably
this
get a
in.
lot of questions about data centers and stuff like that. too.
Environmental, yes,
Environmental.
we stand for environmentalism, education, public safety. People need to feel safe in their communities from police,
Yeah.
right? All of the areas that really impact our everyday lives. And ultimately, I want to know what makes us happy. The last time I asked, what keeps you up at night? But now I'm asking, well, what would make you happy? Would it make you happy to afford groceries, to have a good school to send your child to be safe in your own neighborhood, not being profiled? What would make Oklahomans happy? And that's what we want to talk about. Now, interestingly, these last 8 years, I just want to say this, because I do want to talk about my marijuana policy, because that's a community that I am really looking forward to engaging in how important it is for them to come vote
Right.
again, right? We really haven't seen that vote since 2018.
Exactly, and they
Right.
turned out.
And you see what has happened in the 8 years. Stitt got in, and now he's calling for repeal of something the people did, right? You
Yeah,
know,
there's
that
nothing
rap
trying to do with all of it. Yeah, he
That
tried to
rap-
remove the
Remove the
Medicaid
people's vote.
expansion.
Yeah.
That was a huge, that passed by
Medicaid
58% of the vote.
I'm surprised he's not trying to roll back 780 and 781.
Right,
Yeah.
well,
These were things that the people decided.
It might be
right?
on there. There's
Google
supposed
it
to
if
be
you
a
don't
whole
know.
bunch of
Yeah,
resolutions.
Google it if you don't know what that means, because it was all stuff many of us worked on
Yeah.
really hard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the people, but the people did it.
Yeah,
But
the
the
people did it.
legislature wouldn't, I said, you're gonna have to do this. That's how 788 got done. So now that 8 years have passed and there's been everything you can imagine done to it to push the program down
Yeah.
rather than to elevate it where it could be to make it safe for patients.
Yeah.
To allow mom and dad stores to continue to thrive as entrepreneurs, to keep people out of jail,
Right,
right?
that's the big one.
That was the big one.
And that
That's why
worked,
we
and it
started,
worked.
Yeah.
right?
And it worked, and crime did not go up.
And opioid addiction is historically down in Oklahoma. And the veterans and the PTSD and how they're able, because of this law, this plant that God made, to address their needs without being doped up, like my mom would say. All of those issues are important enough that we are appealing to communities like the marijuana community, the community of people who are incarcerated, the people, environmentalists who are concerned about data centers, to come out and vote for the candidate in the primary who stands for who has a proven track record of accomplishment in these areas, and
But
who
you
has
did.
a vision,
So-
who has a vision for the future that's founded in not only experience and compassion and competence, but it's inspired by a belief that people are good, people are worth it, Oklahomans are worth it.
Yeah.
June
It seems the
16th.
worst people, June 16th, sorry,
Yes.
didn't mean to interrupt there. It seems like the people that we only hear are the loudest, rather than the whole bunch of them that are just trying to do the right thing.
Well, they feel squashed down. We have to get them to vote. And we have strategies that I'll be sharing along the campaign trail about how we get people to guarantee their votes, not just be registered. Let's not keep having these registration drives. Let's get registered
Well,
voters to also take.
Yeah, there
some
you go.
key
See, that's the
steps.
deal.
We need to
Yeah,
bust
I
it.
hate registration drive. I think we need to do it all. I think we should chew gum and walk at the same time.
Yes.
But you gotta
Say
think,
it.
when you only have 20% of the people showing up, that's 1 in 5 registered voters showing up to vote.
4 and 5
So
are
if you
not.
register if you register 100 people, 20 is gonna show up to vote.
Exactly.
What a waste of time. The best use of time is to go after the people that are already registered, who
And
aren't
just
voting.
get them out.
And
But we
Yeah.
gotta
give a
get
way
them
to
excited.
guarantee get excited,
Yeah.
but to guarantee their votes.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
this is what came to me in 2014, following that historic run as the first
Yes,
woman and the first African native person to ever
Yeah.
win a US Senate nomination. We had 29% turnout. I got 29% of the vote.
Then that's, and you.
But it's occurred to me, people were registered, they just weren't voting.
Yeah.
So how could we guarantee that they vote? And I presented this to the party on the executive committee about voting by mail. Well, now since then, we've evolved to just applying to vote by mail.
Right.
When you apply, you know your registration is current, you know where your precinct is because they're changing them, right?
Yeah.
You can use it or not use it. You have 30 days to hand deliver it
Right.
to the county election board. Never mail it in which case you get from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, including the Monday before the Tuesday election to vote. You got all this time. Okay, so this is simply an additional GOTV strategy. You got souls to the polls, you got church vans, telephone trees, applying to vote by mail at okvotebymail.com. Shout out to David Glover.
There you go.
Simply applying does so much. It also, and you know we're onto something because they're trying to
They're trying to
change
get
it
it
up,
right.
right?
Right.
Right?
Stop us from doing it.
But with the mail-in ballot, you can actually host a ballot party where everyone who received it brings the ballot to the room.
Yep.
They talk about it. They talk about these state questions. They're getting
Yeah.
ready to be snuck on us.
Yeah, exactly.
But see, people are going to get that ballot for 4 weeks,
Yeah.
3 weeks approximately before the vote. They can come to a space, talk about what it really means, mark it, have notaries in the
Right.
room, and then my whole idea is to form a caravan and hand deliver them to the county election board and get it done,
Yeah.
right? And know that you did it,
Yeah.
right? So I'm excited about that concept, and I share it freely. I have no pride of authorship.
No,
I
and you've
hope
always
everybody-
done this. I
Okay.
want to act like this is the first time
Okay.
she's ever said this to anybody. That's her.
I've
Give
been
us-
harping on this for a long
Yeah.
time, right?
All right, give us a 1 minute close. What do people need
Yep.
to do?
People, we Oklahomans,
Yeah.
I am asking you to think about what democratic values mean for our state and how we need to return to those values for our state to experience the turnaround that we know we are capable of. We are true grit. Oklahomans are pioneers. We lead the way. Let's lead the way this time by electing a person who is not only Native, African American, and a woman, but who has the heart of Oklahomans at her best interest. That's all. I'm asking you on June 16th to go vote for Connie Johnson. It's my understanding that we're first on the ballot.
Makes it easier, doesn't it?
But really, I have all regard for my opponents. I'm just saying that in times like these, we need experienced, qualified, capable, and accomplished people who are willing to give their all to help every Oklahoman. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming down Saturday. You're awesome.
My pleasure.
All right, let's get out of here. Kid, take us out.
Thank you.
Hey, later, everybody. This is the Will Rogers Experiment podcast.
this
You
is-
can catch us on just about any podcast meeting you want to go to. We'll see you guys.